Good morning everyone. Today I'm going to be talking you guys through one of the craziest projects I've ever done. Building a real-life functioning grappling hook system from scratch, and trust me, it was way harder than it looked. My driving question was simple, or so I thought. How can I design a compact and functional grappling hook system using affordable lightweight materials that are durable and comfortable to use? At first I had this crazy idea. Yes, I finally finished my first design. This is a great idea. A wrist-mounted grappling hook with gas canisters, a metal hook and a magnetic retractable system powered by a battery, and it can shoot itself more than 8 feet. This is a great idea. And LEDs. I should use this. This is a great idea. Let me get started. A wrist-mounted grappling hook inspired by the Hacksmith Industries. I imagined a small device on my wrist. Compact, portable, shooting a hook. Using a tiny butane canister, I wanted a spool of rope, a trigger system, and something straight out of a superhero movie. I believe I sketched it well. This is the design. Why is it not working? Is something wrong with it? Does it have not enough charge? Why is my magnet not working? How am I supposed to get a gas canister? That's too expensive. Where am I supposed to get the rope? That's too weak. It's too thick. Where am I going to get the magnets? Where am I going to get the wrist? Where am I going to get all this? I just sacked the design. But reality hit fast. A wrist-mounted grappling hook sounds cool and all on paper, but engineering challenges were massive. High tensile materials, unsafe combustion pressure, and a tiny rope retracting system that I couldn't make work safely. My concept was totally unrealistic. After all these failed attempts, I decided to take a step back. I realized it didn't need to look like a superhero gadget. What I really needed was something functional, affordable, and safe. That's when I moved my design from the wrist to the waist, creating a utility belt mounted grappling hook system. And wow, that completely changed the game. By putting it on the belt, I got more space for mechanisms, better balance since the weight was centered, less strain on my wrist and my arms, much higher safety, no risking or fire near my hands. The main structure, precisely cut wood, strong enough for a frame but cheap. Metal hooks gave me durability, side pockets for extra rope, spare hooks and small tools. This version was simpler, safer, and more realistic. One of the biggest struggles was materials. I didn't have advanced materials or machines. Just wood, cheap materials, plastic, glue, and screws. Every time I came up with an idea, I had to ask, can I actually build this with what I have? Most of the time, no. And time was another huge obstacle. Deadlines, schoolwork, late nights cutting and assembling parts, only to find measurements were off or structured unstable. But that taught me a key lesson. Design isn't about perfection. It's about problem solving and adaptation. My design was done and I had everything ready. It still had room for improvement. I had to add stuff, and I kept improving it. I kept iterating. I added a kite spool mounted to a belt, wooden poles to hold the spool securely, adjustable parts, pockets so you can have anything in case for emergency, and adjustable straps. Every design made the system more reliable, more realistic and safe than before. The belt is compact, functional, and doesn't need any dangerous combustion or pressurized systems anymore. Finally, after months of sketching, testing, and rebuilding, I had a working practical grappling hook system. And while it's not from a movie, it's real engineering, real creativity, and real resilience. After everything was done, after all my 3 designs, after all the redesigning, all the refining, all the changes I've made, all the mistakes I've patched up, and everything I've learned for, the grappling hook was finally finished. And here are some videos of me testing it out.
My name is Azahari, and this is how I make my reliable, adjustable, and lightweight grappling hook. I faced many challenges so far, and I had to readjust this to my advantage. So far, I have readjusted 6 times, but right now, I've made a simple design. I've learned so far that making a simpler design is sometimes better than a hard design. And so far, you will see how this works. So right now, I'm going to do a demonstration for you. It's a belt attached to a hook. I wanted to add some metal poles to this, attached to this wood, but I thought, why not just do the easier way? Add some screws, nails, and I made it easier. And I attached it to a utility belt. I added some knots as well, so I can grab them for more grip, and I have a gloves with me, grip gloves. Okay, now I'll show you how it works. So you give yourself some line, but you can't completely hang off it, so you can't completely let go, otherwise it's be dangerous. That's why I just keep some rope for safety, untangle it a bit, chuck it through, and ooh.
What I learned was adaptability with limited materials and times. You have to think creatively, problem solving through trial and error, and sometimes the simplest design is the best. Safe, functional, and practical. If I had access to better materials, I'd replace wood with aluminum or carbon fiber, add springs loaded with a launching mechanism, integrate a safely locked system for hooks, and maybe a design small winch for automatic rope retrieval. If I did have that, maybe this design would come to life, and maybe I could implement all my 3 designs so far to make it into one. I could use the magnets, the retracting system, the utility belt, the extra pockets, and if I did have better materials, I would make this happen. Every project evolves. Every failure teaches you something new, and every improvement opens a door to the next big idea. After all those redesigns, after all this patching up my mistakes, I am finally up to here. This is what we have all been waiting for. A quick tour of my grappling hook. This is the hook attached to some rope. After the second design, I realized it will be much easier and more stronger to drill it backwards and this facing up. I use this spool because it's meant for construction, meaning this is strong. I faced many challenges, such as this hole being too thin for this rope to fit, so what I did was, I wrapped it around the top of the grapple, and I attached steel fixing wires to twist it around. I also tied mini rope through it, and that's how I got it stuck. So this is stuck here. I added some knots as well, so I can have grip, and so far this is a good design. I have this to hold my grappling hook, I have pockets in case anything happens. I can keep rope, and anything for emergencies. I also have gloves for grip, and this here for anything I can put here to fix up my grapple. So far, that
My final utility belt hook system might not be out in movies, but it's comfortable, affordable, functional and safe. And this shows what happens when creativity meets persistence. Thanks for watching. Remember, in design and engineering or in life, never give up, keep adapting and always make most of what you have.